let us look at what all would be required to register a startup in India. So far, we have discussed that for having a startup, to register as a startup India under the Startup India scheme, your idea need to be an innovative idea. It needs to be something different. It needs to be not something which is duplicated or replicated in the past. It has to be completely new. That is one basic key criteria that we've been talking from day one of our sessions as well, that if you want to go in for a startup, you need to have a marketable, you need to have a unique idea. It has to be marketable, it has to be scalable, and it has to be large enough so that your idea grows. That's where the investors will look into it. We discussed about the business plan, where we documented each and every step of business. Now we are going in for the registration of a startup. So when we talk about registration, of course, specific to India is what we are going to be discussing today. So what actually is a startup, and what is the Startup India scheme of the government of India? So of course, first and foremost, innovation is a must. For whatever you do, your idea should be an innovative one. Okay, so a great idea for your startup would be something that is different, something that is unique, and your business must be working on this point itself, be it technology or be it any other process improvement that you're bringing about, but it has to be unique. What differentiates it from other business is that the startup has to offer a new product or a service, okay, that is not given elsewhere in the same manner. So either you're coming with a new product or service, or you're changing the way things are done. Okay, so if you're bringing about that change, then it is categorized and as innovation, and that innovation is a must. The business that you want to register as a startup has to be either new. Even existing business is we can register, but let's look at, if it's a new business, what are the things that are required to be kept in mind while having a startup. So when you're registering a new business, let's say you're opening up a proprietary concern alone, then you cannot go in for registration under the Startup India scheme. It has to be either partnership or a limited liability, that is your LLP, or a private limited company. Only these can be registered under the Startup India scheme. So it's very important that you do not have a sole proprietary concern or an OPC company. All those things might not have the registration for the Startup India scheme. So if you're registering only as a partnership firm, that is, you're having a partnership agreement and registered the ROF, registrar of firms, then you are an eligible business for startup, or you have to open a LLP or a private limited company. Uh, in case you are taking an existing business for the startup, it has to be incorporated or registered in India not before 5 years. I think the government has extended this for another year or so now with the coming budget, but it cannot be not before 5 years from the start of business. Yes, Uday? Uday, we've just started with our session. So do you want to quickly go ahead and introduce yourself since you've joined in right now?
Hello everyone, I am Uday and I'm in banking sector trying to establish my own career in entrepreneurship.
Okay. Yeah, the laws are different, Kedar, for different states. But let us look at for Startup India scheme. We're focusing right now on the Startup India scheme as of now. We're focusing our discussion on that. We look at the state implications and the state taxations, which will differ from state to state basis. One India, one nation. Of course, GST has brought in, but that's only one aspect of the entire taxation bunch. So the focus of today's discussion is not on taxation, but on registration of a startup. So with that, we'll just continue with this as of now. So you need to the existing business, if you're taking as a startup under the Startup India scheme, then it needs to be incorporated, registered in India not before 5 years. Its turnover must be less than 25 crores per year and must not be as a result of splitting up or reconstruction of an existing business. These things are very important, right? So it is very important that if you're taking into any existing business, then these three criteria are a must. Only then you can take it as a startup. So let's say if it's like 10 years old business, then obviously you cannot take it as a startup, even though turnover is less than 25 crores, for example. Or if the turnover is more than 25 crores and the business is for only 3 years, then also it won't be an eligible one. So turnover must be less than 25 crores and incorporated not before 5 years, and not as a result of splitting up. So you have, demerger of your business processes and bringing the other processes as a startup. No, that won't work. So that is the basic requirement for the Startup India, for being as a definition of startup. Now, under the Startup India scheme, the government of India is seeking to promote startups, which has initiated the startup initiative, and to recognize them and promote the startup. The idea is to attract talent entrepreneurs into the business front, right? So basically, the idea of the Startup India scheme lies there, and this criteria is a mandatory criteria before we proceed into any further discussion for a startup. Now, before we move on to what is the procedure, what are the steps, how we can go about registering, let us look at the benefits that are available to the startup. Only if it's beneficial for you, you will do the all the effort and the paperwork and the documentation that requires to, become a startup. So startups are allowed to self-certify their compliance for 6 labor laws and 3 environmental laws. They are allowed for 3 years tax exemptions and the best intellectual property services and resources solely built to help startups and protect the commercial and commercialize their IPRs. So the intellectual property rights ke liye they have huge lot of benefits, and they can build and protect them at a larger level. So there are a lot of exemptions also which are allowed for 3 years. They have a tax exemption, which we look at in the subsequent slides as well. So because of these benefits that are available, any new entity which is coming up with a new business idea would like to register as a startup or would want to go in for a startup. These are the key benefits of having the startup registered under Startup India scheme. The startup registration process is a simple 3-step process. The first is you incorporate your business, that is, you incorporate it either as a partnership, LLP, or a company. There is a letter of recommendation that you need to obtain either from the incubator or the one who's funding you, and you need to register it with on that Startup India website. So these are the 3 things that you need to make sure or do in order to start as a startup. So first and foremost is about incorporating your business. When you're incorporating your business, you need to incorporate it as either as a private limited partnership or LLP company. For that, what you need to do for partnership, you can register with the registrar of partnership firms and register as a partnership firm. All right. So for ROF, that is now this what you're saying, Mr. Kedar. Yes, partnership firm, when you're going to register, it is a state-wise registration. You can register a partnership firm. Different states have different registration procedures. Of course, it is online available. You need to fill up the form A and fill up at the ROF and fill up the registration form there. So you need to obtain a certificate of partnership registration in case of a partnership. Private limited companies and LLPs, that is limited liability partnership, are they need to be incorporated under the MCA, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs. For that, you need to follow the procedure of registration, which is provided under the MCA guidelines. So for LLP, you need to have one or more partners, and it's a nature of partnership, but with limited liability. So each of the partner in the organization has a limited liability to the extent of capital bought in by them. You can register. The only thing by registering it on the MCA site, the objective or the difference between a partnership and an LLP is, most of you might be aware, is a lot of transparency in terms of reporting of annual compliances, which is provided for LLP, which is not there. So if there is a lack of trust between partners, then an LLP is an advisable position to go for, because there is a lot of transparency, and people feel that it's more acceptable way of doing business in today's times. If you want to have more than 2 people, you go in for a private limited company and register it as a private limited company under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. There is a step-by-step process where you register the name, then you prepare the memorandum and articles of association and submit that and get your company registered. Again, for a company that is registered, there is a compliance procedure that happens on the MCA where you need to take care of the regulatory compliances for companies under the Companies Act, whatever that calls for. I'm not going to get into the details of that because then it will be a separate session altogether. So, yeah. All right. I am suppose I'm willing to set up a consultancy firm in Gujarat state, and major business is sourced from state like MP and UP. Okay. What would be the taxation compliance? Because minimum wages differ. Absolutely. Secondly, if the initial stage of turnover does not exceed 20 lakh per annum. So, Kedar, you are asking me from which perspective? Are you asking me from GST perspective or from registration perspective? Which tax compliance are you referring to here? So, if you're setting up a consultancy firm in Gujarat and major business is sourced from states like MP and UP, obviously, in terms of GST, you need not wait for the turnover to exceed 20 lakhs. It will be applicable to GST, and you will have to get GST compliance right from the beginning when you're going in, because different states. Now, if you're asking me for any other compliance, do let me know. um, the registration or the incorporation, once you get, you also need to get the PAN registered, and obviously the digital signatures of partners in case of LLP and of directors in case of private limited company. You need to get all of that. You need to get into the regulatory compliances done for the entity, which is required in terms of annual filing and quarterly filings. So that is basically the first step. Like you're creating an establishment. First of all, you need to have an innovative idea. With an idea in mind, you've created a business plan. With a business, yeah, so you've created a business plan. With that business plan in mind, you go ahead with registering either as a partnership with your co-founder. So basis your co-founder, whether you want to you can discuss with your co-founder and figure out whether you want to register as a partnership LLP or um, partnership LLP or a private limited company. Once that is done, we will move up to the next step of registering, which is the letter of recommendation that you need for registering as a startup under the Startup India scheme. So this is the next step. I said three steps. The first one was registering your business. The second one is this letter of recommendation that you need to obtain. Now, don't worry on this. I'll explain what it is. Basically, first, these all six points that you can see on the screen, I've just listed it down. Don't worry, I'll explain each one of them. So basically, these six letters are letters which are acceptable as letters of recommendation for your startup. Either it could be a letter from an incubator established in a postgraduate college in India specified by the department. So basically, DIIP approval letter of an incubator is what is required. Or if you cannot get that, the letter of support by an incubator which is funded in relation to the project. So the project that you're doing, maybe the DIIP is funding that project by the government of India. In that case, even that letter of recommendation by such incubator will be acceptable. The next is the letter of recommendation regarding the innovation nature. As I mentioned in the beginning itself, for a startup to register as under the Startup India scheme, you need to have innovation as the key. So you need to register as an innovative business. So for that also you need a letter of recommendation, a letter stating that this is an innovative business from an incubator recognized by the Government of India in DIIP specified format. So there's a format by DIIP. DIIP means Department of Industrial Policy. So DIIP has specified a certain format for this letter, and the letter should mention that it is an innovative business and it should be given by the incubator which is recognized by the Government of India. The next can be a letter of funding. Any of your funder, that is your angel investor or an incubation funder, can give a letter, but that funder should be not less than 20% in equity. He should be holding at least 20% of equity. He should fund you to the extent of 20% of the equity, right? And this letter and this funder, this investor who's investing in your business has to be registered with SEBI, and that endorsement also has to be given that it is innovative in nature. So there's a funder who's funding you to the extent of 20%. That funder is registered with SEBI, and he or she is, that particular funding organization is giving an endorsement that yes, this business is of an innovative nature. So that such a letter also will be accepted as a letter of recommendation. If you're not getting that also, then a letter of funding by the government of India or a state government as a part of any specified scheme to promote innovation. So if government comes out with different schemes under the innovation schemes, if under that innovation scheme you are going in for funding, then a government letter also, which is issued by the state or the central government, will also do, specifying again that this is for under that particular scheme. A patent filed and published in the journal by the Indian Patent Office in areas affiliated with the nature of business being promoted. So basically, that business that you're doing, again, the key highlight of all of these letters, as you see, is innovation. Somewhere either your investor or your incubator or the government is specifying the innovation criteria of this business. So the patent also is filed, and in the journal, if there is a patent filed which specifies that your business is an innovative business, then such letter also, which can be given by that particular journal authorities by the Indian Patent Office, then also it is this Indian Patent Office letter is also a valid letter as a letter of recommendation. The third step is actually doing the registration on the online website of Government of India. So you need to log into Startup India website. So Startup India website is there. You need to log in there. You need to fill in the details. The reason why I discussed all of these details is somewhere or the other, these details need to be punched onto this website. You need to fill up the form which gives those details of your business. You have to explain, and specifically when you're explaining the description of your business over here, the key aspect of innovation has to be highlighted. So how it is innovative, how is your business innovative, has to be very nicely written. Then there are certain documents, one of which is the letter of recommendation, which we just talked about, and various other documents. We'll look into that one by one. At each of these steps, I will be discussing more in detail. Then the tax benefit question comes, whether you're taking tax benefit or not. Now, that question needs to be answered. Again, I'll explain when I talk on that. Then there is a self-certification that happens. So you need to give a self-certification that you are a new business and you are a startup and so on. And once all of this is done and you click a submit, the recognition number is generated. Then the department revalidates that and checks the documentation and everything, and you get a recognition certificate. So once this recognition certificate is received, then you are a registered startup under the Startup India scheme to take benefits under the Startup India. All right. So let's look at each one of them. What documents are needed? How do you fill up the form and things like that? Okay. These are the documents that need to be uploaded. So once either you're registering as a partnership or an LLP or company, you will get a certificate of incorporation or a certificate of registration. Partnership, if it's a partnership, you'll get a certificate of registration under the ROF. And if you're a company, then under the MCA, they will issue you a company or an LLP, they'll issue a certificate of incorporation. So that certificate needs to be uploaded. That's why first step is the registration process. The next is upload the letter of recommendation. The 6 points that I talked, any one of those which you have received either as a patent right or as a government letter or incubator letter, fund investor who's investing more than 20%, any one of those letters that you're having, you can upload that as the letter of recommendation. So that will be these are all mandatory documents. Okay. So these documents have to be uploaded. So you need to have an incorporation certificate or a registration certificate. You need to have a letter of recommendation and description of your business in brief. Here I was talking about when you're describing your business in that format, it has to mention basically your memorandum articles and all of that. They mention that it's an innovative idea. That is the focus over here. It should be a very brief description. You can give a small description of what your business is, but the focus has to be that the idea is new, or a process that you're coming up. Maybe the product is new, but the service, the way you're providing the service, the concept is new. Innovation key has to be specified here. Yes, Kedar.
Letter of recommendation can be from university itself, provided by the dean or the head of the department or the director of the course.
For what? For courses? Oh, sorry. Just give me a minute. We'll go back to that. No, it will be only for a patent file. It cannot be for a university or a dean of a university. It has to be one of these 6 only. So maybe, you know, basically who is funding, be it an angel investor or under the Government of India scheme, or it's a patent which is registered under the patent journal under the Indian Patent Office, then that letter. So it has to be these 6 alone and nothing else. So here it does not mention specifically anywhere about university or any dean mentioning that. Incubator established for a postgraduate in a postgraduate college in India in format prescribed by the DIIP. This is allowed, but not of the dean of the college. All right. So this is specific. This is from the site only. That's why I've just pasted it over here as in an as is format. All right, clear. So we move to the next.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Sure.
Yeah, so we were on the steps of filling up the form and uploading the documents. Right. So here again, description of the business needs to focus on innovation. Answering the question, the next step that's there in that form that you fill up is about whether you would like to avail tax benefits. Now, startups are exempt from income tax for 3 years. So, but this is not available for partnerships. It's only for LLP and companies. Okay. And these benefits must be certified by ministerial board. The startups which are recognized by DIIP can now directly go in and avail the IPR related benefits without any certificate of IMB. Otherwise, if you're not getting, it's not recognized by DIIP, then you need to avail avail this exemption benefit. You must get a certificate from the interministerial board. This is important. Okay, so whether you would like to avail tax benefits, if you're saying yes, of course you will get an exemption for 3 years, but then this should be complied with. Either you have this certificate by IMB. If you don't have this certificate, then you should be recognized by the DIIP, Government of India. So if you're already DIIP certified by getting that letter and everything, then it's perfectly all right. Then you need not need a certificate by IMB. Yeah, Kedar. Yes, Kedar.
Well, what would be the exact scenario if any startup is not put into the GST limit? That is 20. That is, as far my knowledge goes, there has to be registration when the amount of the turnover of an establishment exceeds 20 lakhs in Indian currency. See, what if it doesn't reach 20 lakhs per annum in Indian currency? How would the tax then be treated as? I mean the taxation. Suppose if
GST, you're talking about GST?
Sorry?
What are you talking about? 20 lakhs turnover threshold limit for GST?
As I mentioned earlier, suppose I'm registering my firm in Gujarat state, okay? And some of my employees are in the state of Madhya Pradesh and all else Uttar Pradesh. That is UP. Fine, they are upcoming states as per their state directives are familiar.
Correct. So, which means you are doing business intrastate?
Sorry?
Which means you are doing business in intrastate, that is between MP and Gujarat, between 2 states, right? In that case, you need to have a GST. You need to get registered, irrespective of the turnover.
Okay.
Intrastate, no, intrastate business you're doing. Intrastate, that's why when you go in for any e-commerce registration, you go for a registration of your business on Amazon, it asks for your GST number. It will not allow you to work further because it is intrastate. You don't know where the buyer of your product or service is across India.
Okay.
Right?
Fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah. The next step after you decide on whether you're going to avail the tax benefits or not is moving on to the self-certification part. Now, self-certification is nothing but again the same things that we've been discussing from beginning. But here, you as a startup owner is going to certify and sign off that this is what I satisfy. Now, what these conditions are that yes, I am a new company, I am registered as a private limited or a partnership or an LLP. If I'm an existing company, then in that case, I'm not incorporated more than 5 years. The turnover, my turnover is not less than, is less than, sorry, is less than 25 crores per annum. And my business is into innovation. So this is mandatory. So this you're certifying at this stage in this form that yes, I comply with all of this and I've satisfied these conditions. That's about it. Now, and yes, of course, your business is not formed as splitting up. So let's say you are having an existing manufacturing unit, you split up into two units, and one unit you change the process of doing the business, and you say that this is a startup, so it doesn't work like that. Okay, that is what the last point means. So you, if your business should not be formed as a splitting up of your existing business. So let's say you're having a 10-year-old business, you want to now take that 3 year tax exemption. So you make one baby company and set it up separately. And then you say, okay, fine, I'm going to change the processes and innovate it over here and go in for startup registration to take 3 years tax exemption. It won't work. Okay. Because you're again, here you're signing off that this is what it is. Then once you finish all of this, fill up the form, upload the documents, do your, I mean, tick on yes, no for tax benefit exemptions, tax benefits if you want to avail or not. The tax benefit that is 80 IAC benefit that you're taking, that is only eligible for LLPs and companies and not for partnership firms. So be clear on that. It should not happen you register as a partnership and you are ticking yes as for tax exemptions. It should not happen that also. So keep in mind all of those things. And then you get a recognition number. So on applying, once you hit on the submit button, you will get immediately recognition number for your startup, and the certificate will be issued only after your documents are examined. So that is the recognition certificate which you get after the Startup India office checks all your documents and is satisfied with the position of what you are stating in that entire form. So it's pretty simple. The only thing is that first you need to get all your documents in place and then you can go ahead with all of this. Yeah, one more important point I forgot to mention here, which is about the fact that in case by any chance you have made a mistake in uploading the documents, or you have or they find out that you uploaded the wrong documents for any reason, then you might be liable to a fine which is 50% of your paid up capital, with a minimum fine of rupees 25,000 rupees. So be very careful on what you submit online for registering the startup. Okay, so that splitting up thing or other things are very important that you need to keep in mind. Yes, Kedar, please.
Which body examines the documents?
The Government of India. The startup scheme officials, they are generally representatives from RBI, they are representatives from the industry, they're experts, industry experts. So they are there. So they and their team would obviously take care of registering. So the Startup India team, which is there, basically for us, it is the Government of India. But generally the people who operate are these, the RBI officials and industry experts.
Because as currently the government is very strong and very well educated and it works in the interest of the Indian community.
Yes,
But
it
there is
does.
always a contingency planning.
No, see, these, yeah, so government, they examine. Today also even your income tax return is examined. Okay, you don't get a refund very easily. You have to wait for some time and then you have to follow up on that and all of that. So, I mean, many times it is disallowed and then you have to go in for claiming those disallowances and so on. So government does check. Whoever is at the other side of the story, we would call it government, but it could be an expert body sitting over there and examining all of this for us.